Hello YouTube, I'm your Huckleberry, and this is a Chris Reeve Knives large Sebenza 21 with a Tanto blade. And this is, I'll just go ahead and say it, this is my favorite knife of all time that I've ever had. If you have seen my video on my 5 favorite EDC knives, which was a response to Slicey Dicey's open tag, asking for that. This is the only one in my collection that is untouchable. All others are for sale or trade, just about any time. I don't have, a real, there's a lot that I like, and even a few that I love, but even then, if I got the right offer, I would let them go. The offer would have to be way more than it's worth, and I know nobody's going to offer me that for me to get rid of it. But other than that, it is the only untouchable knife in my collection because I bought it when it was. This is the only. I've had a few Chris Reeve knives in my collecting life, but this is the only one that I ever bought new. From True North Knives, back when True North Knives had the exclusive on the Tanto that has since lapsed, and you can buy a large 21 with a Tanto at Blade HQ now and other places. But back when True North Knives had the exclusive on the Tanto, I bought this brand new. It's the only Chris Reeve knife that I've ever bought new, and so all of these marks, and they're a little bit. There you go. There you can kind of see all the snail trails. All the marks, everything on there is all me because I bought it brand spanking new. And so all that is me. I recently sent it to have a spall service done. It needed an edge on it and needed to be, what they do. They go through and tune it and, take it apart, grease it up, put it back together and everything. I needed that done and they did that for me. A wonderful, wonderful warranty service, by the way. And, and one of the options is to refinish the scales, the titanium here. And I said, no, I don't want that. I opted out of that because all of that is mine and I love it and I want it to be there. I wanted to see it because I put those there. And so I like that a lot. And so I also like that they give you the option to opt out of that because they know that. They know there's some nostalgia there. And so I opted out of that. So they left the scales alone and just gave it an edge and went through it and got it running real nice again. But anyway, so that's just kind of the prelude to this, just so you know, this is my favorite knife of all time. So this is, I love this knife. But let's get into it a little bit here. Let's get into some specs. You're looking at 8.3 inches overall with a 3.6 inch blade, a 0.13 inch blade thickness. We have an S35 VN steel with a Tanto blade, of course, Tanto, however, tomato, Tanto, Tanto. Blade that has a hollow grind and a beautiful stonewash finish. It is, of course, a titanium Reeve integral lock. That's right, Reeve integral lock, which is also known as a frame lock. And it is right hand tip up only carry. And of course, Chris Reeve is one of the few manufacturers, Chris Reeve knives, that do make entirely left hand models. And so you can buy a left-handed Sebenza, and they're actually readily available. I was looking around on Blade HQ before I come on, as I usually do before I start a review, just to see, what kind of options and everything is out there. And they do make entirely left-hand models. And so not only can you get, the clip on the right side for yourselves lefties, you can get the frame lock on the proper side for yourselves when it comes to CRK. That's one of the great things that they do. And, they can do that because they have, relatively few models. And so they can make entirely left-hand models, which is nice. It's very nice for lefties. That's something I always talk about, is it, can you also carry it left-handed? And this, not only can you carry, they make entire left-hand models. So that's great. I really respect Chris Reeve knives for doing that. Let's get a weight here. Let's get a weight. Come on, there we go. And let's see here. We're going to be looking at about 4.8 ounces. So, you know, not the lightest thing in the world, but not too heavy either. And let's do our size comparison. Here it is against a full-size, large Benchmade Griptilian. And as you can see there, pretty comparable. The Sebenza is going to have a little bit of a longer blade, but other than that, pretty comparable in size. In this dimension here, of course, the Sebenza is going to be a lot less in handle thickness. You know, overall handle thickness, the Sebenza is going to be quite a bit less there. And so it's going to be kind of a slimmer profile on the Sebenza. Let's look at it against the Paramilitary 2, Spyderco PM2, which is another popular option. And those, the Sebenza is just slightly longer when it comes to blade. Just slightly longer there. Overall, though, these compare pretty favorably in overall size. As you can see, is the Sebenza slightly longer? I'll have to look at the PM2 specs again. Yeah, I think it's slightly longer. But anyway, real favorable in overall size. Again, we can look at the handle thickness, and again, pretty favorable. I think the Sebenza is going to be slightly slimmer there, but not by much. Let's look at it against the Rat Model 2. Let's get that out there, and of course, the Sebenza is going to be quite a bit larger. The Rat Model 2 is going to be closer to a small Sebenza 21. It would compare pretty favorably to that there, and I need to get me a small Sebenza. Man, I love Sebenzas. I just love Chris Reeve knives. But anyway, enough fawning. There you can tell they're quite a bit larger, quite a bit larger. And lastly, let's look at it against a Kershaw Link. A Kershaw Link. And again, the Sebenza is going to be, you know, a little bit longer, a little bit more blade length, a little bit longer overall, but not by much. And really, in terms of handle width, they're going to be pretty favorable comparison there. All right, let's get this guy out of here. All right, so let's get into the pros and cons. And really, this is just kind of going to be, I'm going to get into the pros and cons, but I'm also going to, you know, just talk about the Sebenza overall. Because this is a knife that is very important to the history of knives, period. Especially, you know, tactical, you know, type folders. Because as you heard me call it earlier, this is the Reeve integral lock. And I really appreciate Blade HQ, and I like that they call all frame locks. They don't just put frame lock. They always put Reeve integral lock. Because Chris Reeve, of course, is the one that invented the frame lock. And so all of the frame lock knives that we enjoy today, because there's they are legion, they are all thanks to Chris Reeve, because he invented that. He invented the integral lock, which gave you what they call the vault-like, bank vault-like lockup. And I mean, it's true. I mean, that is as solid, as rock solid as any knife you will ever feel right there. I mean, that's not going anywhere. And so Chris Reeve gave that to us. So thank you, Chris Reeve, for that. I mean, that is one of the most important inventions in the history of knife making, is that right there. That's why so many knives use that today, is because it's just a great lock. It's a great locking system. It works. It gives you a good, solid lockup. And it's great. And it's all thanks to Chris Reeve and the original Sebenza well, not 21, but the original Sebenza, which of course, I believe the first one was in 1987, is when Chris Reeve first brought that model out, you know, as a custom model, handmade model, in 1987. And so that's, you know, and this one was of course to celebrate the 21st anniversary of that, the Sebenza 21, which is still in production today. This has S35 VN steel. Chris Reeve worked with Crucible to help create the S30V and the S35V in steel, which is, of course, a very, very good steel. It was invented specifically for cutlery. And so it had, knives and cutlery in mind. Of course, with Chris Reeve helping with that, helping to create that. So that's very important because you see S30V and S35VN on a ton of knives because it's a very good steel that was specific to knives. Specific, I can't say it now, that was made for cutlery, made for knives. That was the reason that it was invented. And so you have that, which is, again, another important another important, knife invention, if you will, that knife discovery, whatever you want to call it, that Chris Reeve gave us, which is great. My favorite thing about this is that it is beautifully simple. That's what I call it, beautifully simple. You have phosphor bronze washers. You have, it's easy to disassemble. You just got 2 slabs of titanium here. And not only is it easy to disassemble, Chris Reeve knives are one of the few companies that will encourage disassembly. It doesn't do anything to avoid the warranty. They don't urge against it. In fact, they throw the tool in and the grease and say, yes, disassemble, clean, and maintain your knives, please. They throw the tool right in there so that you do it. So that they encourage you to maintain your knives, to disassemble your knives. And the reason they do that is because this is so easy to maintain. It's so easy to take apart, so easy to put back together. You just tighten everything down, as far as you can, and it's going to be centered, and the action's going to be good. And it's near impossible, as long as you don't, mess up a washer, it's near impossible to mess up a disassembly and reassembly of a Sebenza 21. It is beautifully simple. It is a system that has been perfected, over the years since 1987. It has been tweaked and modified and gotten to the point where they have pretty much perfected it. It is beautifully simple, and I love that. I love that there's not, I like the knives that are innovative and have, the gadgets and gizmos and the whiz bang boom, but I also really like this. I like the beautiful simplicity of the Sebenza 21. It's fantastic. I like that they have all different kinds of, they do something called unique graphics, where they have kind of several different models. They have unique graphics, they have computer generated graphic models, and they have inlay models, where they will inlay some beautiful wood or carbon fiber, and they have, carbon fiber models where the whole entire, front scale is carbon fiber, and they have carbon fiber inlay models. They have elderburl, which is one of my favorites, that they inlay, all different kinds of wood, snake wood, ebony, just, all different kinds of woods that they will inlay there on both sides. They have, the computer-generated graphics, where you can get, different graphics on the blade. They have, and of course, unique graphics. And when they say unique graphics, they really mean it. There will be no 2 unique graphic models exactly alike. Now, they may look pretty similar, but they will not be exactly alike. That's something that they promise. You're not going to find, when they say unique, they mean unique. And you're not going to find 2 that are exactly alike, which is great. I like that it's, even with this being, just B-Blast titanium, with all the guys who can customize and modify these days, you can easily anodize this, to any color that you want. You can do different things to this. I have had several, over my collecting life that I have had anodized, purple, blue, just all different colors, green. You can have it anodized, which looks, just beautiful, which looks great. And the great thing about anodization is that it's also easily reversible. For someone who knows what they're doing, it's not that hard. And so I love that. If you can't tell, I just love, I love Sebenzas, and I love this Sebenza very, very much. I just think that they are, you don't need more than this. You know, you don't need a bunch of bells and whistles. This is something that is going to be reliable, that is going to get the job done, that is beautifully simple. You know, it's the best way that I can put it. It is beautifully simple. The cons, I mean, come on, you've heard me fawn over this thing, right? I don't have a lot of cons. You know, you might say that, you know, for the price, you're getting S35VN and titanium, and you can find that for a lot lower price. And that's true. That's 100% true. You can find S35VN blade with a full titanium frame lock, Reeve integral lock, for a lot less than, you know, the $450 that this is running these days. But you're getting no history with those, you know, or very little history. You're not getting this history. And history may not be worth a dime to you, and I get it, I do. History may not be worth anything to you. You're just like, yeah, but it's, you know, I'm about performance, and, you know, it's S35VN and titanium, and I can find that for a lot less. I get it, I do. And, but this has so much history behind it. The knife world owes so much to the Sebenza because of what it accomplished. There are guys who only collect Sebenzas, and they got, you know, all kinds of models and colors and the graphics and the inlays and everything, and that's great. But it's also great if you look at this and say it's S35VN and titanium. I don't get it. Why is it $450? I get it. I do, because that's kind of a hard pill to swallow, right? If you don't care about history at all, that's a hard pill to swallow. If you do care about knife history, and that's something that appeals to you, then it's not such a hard pill to swallow. You're like, yeah, I'll pay $450 for that, because it's a piece of history, you know, in my hand. And so I'm one of those that I'll pay for the history of it. I'll pay for the beautiful simplicity of it, for the ease of breakdown and reassembly, and for the fantastic SPAL service that they offer. Like I said, which I just had this done. It was quick, it was easy. I only had to pay for return shipping. And so, you know, it was great. They will take care of you. After service is just fantastic on this. After purchase service, I should say, is fantastic. And so this is I think this is one of those knives that you're either gonna get or you're not. Or you're going to appreciate or you're not. Or maybe you do appreciate it and you just say, yeah, but it's $450. No thanks. Which I get, it's expensive. There's no doubt about it. For phosphor bronze, S35VN, and titanium, it's expensive. That's all there is to it. There's no way around that fact. And if the history means nothing to you, if you don't, you know, if that's just not, or if it does mean something to you, you're just not willing to pay the upcharge for it, I get it. I get it. It's not for everybody, and I understand. But for me, I love it. I love it. Like I said, this is the only untouchable knife in my collection. The only one that will not be up for trade or for sale anytime. You'll never see me post this for trade or for sale. Unless it's just some kind of, I have some kind of drastic life change where I need money. But outside of that, no, it's not. And so, okay, I've rambled on long enough about it. That's going to do it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. If you hated this video, feel free to give me a thumbs down. Either way, write down in the comments what you liked or disliked about it. If you have any constructive criticism or questions, feel free to ask them down there. I enjoy reading every one of those and responding to them. And whatever you do, go ahead and subscribe. Hit that subscribe, hit that notification bell so that you will be notified every time I release a new video, because I have a lot more knives and gear coming up to talk about and review. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Goodbye.